I'm Beverly. I'm the director of the Cambridge University Botanic Garden and Professor of Plant Systematics and Evolution here in Cambridge. As a child, growing up and thinking about what I wanted to do, I was really inspired by Jacques Cousteau, a famous French marine biologist, an engineer. And then in later years, and since I've been in Cambridge, then the professor who persuaded the university to fund and build this botanic garden, so that's John Stevens Henslow. It's been another great inspiration. Well, he was an astonishing man because he wasn't trained as a biologist. He was in the Navy as a young man and then was injured, and it was after he came out of the Navy that he started to develop all his interest in marine biology. But what I always liked about Cousteau was that he was a great explainer. He was a great educator long before really the idea of popularising natural history was something that people did routinely. So long before the sort of common natural history films and programmes that we see today. It was already clear to him that you couldn't just do this for your own interest, you had to do it and explain it to people. He had a way of doing that was really engaging and insightful. The science was there and the detail was there, but he managed to instill that excitement as well. And so we had all his books at home and I watched all his films. But the other thing he did that was very clever was that if he couldn't do what he wanted for technical reasons, then he became an engineer and solved the technical problems before he could go back to the biology. So famously he came up with the idea of attaching a demand regulator which changes gas pressure onto an air tank, and both of those things already existed, but by putting them together he invented the scuba tank that we know today. And so I was always really impressed with that. If I can't do what I want to because of technical problems, how can I solve the technical problem and then come back to where I wanted to be? It's a very interdisciplinary subject, and I think perhaps I haven't invented anything quite as clever as Jacques Cousteau did, but I like to think that by bringing in different subjects we're really taking the field forward. My research is quite interdisciplinary, so I work on understanding how properties of flowers that attract different animal pollinators develop and how those developmental pathways have evolved. And our big picture question is to understand why there are so many different sorts of flowers. But in order to do that, I need to understand how the surface of a petal feels to a pollinator, so I need to be involved with material scientists and understanding how textures operate. I need to understand the optical properties of that flower, and I need physicists to help me measure how light behaves. And I need to understand how a pollinator sees and feels and then computes that information into a behaviour. And so I also need to work with bee cognition, vision and indeed psychologists to understand all of that. To anybody in any career in science, the trick is to find the things that excite you and follow them. You don't do good science by working out what you think will make the most impressive paper in the most impressive journal. You do good science by following the questions that really excite you and finding the answers for them. That's what you need to do.